Hello everybody, and welcome back once again for another one of my videos here at MMM Shenanigans. Today I'm going to be making a hard cider. I've seen this on YouTube a few times, and honestly I don't have not a big fan of hard ciders, but at the same time they're not bad. I just really wanted to see if it is as good as I see everybody making a big deal about it on the internet. I've seen several videos on it, and everybody drinks it and they're like, oh, this is really good. I'm really curious to see if it's going to be as good as they make it out to be, or if it's just kind of like, it's there, it's alcoholic. So I do have two jugs here because this one is a gallon, this is also a gallon, but this has a really wide mouth and I don't have a bung for it. So I'm going to be attempting to pour this into here and just see how that turns out in the first place. Then we're just going to cap it off. I'm not going to add any additional sugar. I don't want it to be like an apple wine. I really want to be a hard cider. I got plenty of beer bottles to put it into, carbonated, everything. So let's just go ahead and get started. I'm going to sanitize my hands real quick. All right. Now for the fun part. I am going to attempt to pour this into here. And probably make a really big mess doing it. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and stop there. A couple reasons. Reason number one, this might need some headroom to avoid going crazy and a volatile fermentation going, it's blowing out of the top. Secondly, I've pushed my luck and I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to take a chance on overflowing or spilling. And surprisingly, I did not make a mess at all. Don't know how. So that's pretty much it. I'm not going to make this video too long. I'm going to go ahead and make this video a simultaneous, I don't know what to call it. It's not going to be separate videos. It's going to be one long video with all the pieces. So you'll see the rest of this, which took weeks, I'm sure. But I'm going to go ahead and put in my yeast. I'm going to use about a half pack. So yeast is, it's a bacteria that relies on having not just one single cell, but a large colony of yeast to work with. So because of that, it's not something you want to put a small amount of yeast into it. You might as well just use half the pack. Well, it's better if you use a little bit more. So if you're making anything less than like 2 gallons, like 3 or less, or less than 3, it's a good idea to go ahead and use a half pack. If you're going to do anything more, use a full pack. Depending on what you're making, like a mead, if you're doing more than that, you might want to actually go a bit higher and use 2 packs for like a 5-gallon batch, just because mead is a very it's a tough environment for yeast to survive in. So it'd be a little bit easier if it had some extra help. So I went ahead and shook that up. You don't really have to. Honestly, the yeast itself is going to rehydrate in the liquid, and it's going to start fermenting on its own. For now, I'm going to go ahead and grab my bung, my airlock, which is a 3-piece airlock. I'm going to fill it with some sanitizing fluid. Don't use water. Water won't... It'll stop stuff from getting in, like just bacteria itself. However, what it's not going to do is stop bugs from getting in. Bugs can swim through water, or at least some of them, and they might just swim through the water and get into your beverage, and nobody wants to wait around for weeks just to have it ruined. So I'm going to go ahead and put my airlock in, and we're good for now. This is going to take a couple weeks. Hopefully it starts within the next couple hours and I can know whether it's good or not. But I will be getting back to you in a couple weeks. Well, you'll see it in a couple seconds. See you then. All right, everybody. So it's been about, I want to say about 2 to 3 weeks at this point. My apple cider is here. As you can see, it is pretty clear. honestly cleared up mostly on its own, and that's not a bad thing at all. It actually looks really nice. So what I'm going to be doing is racking this from here into here. Now the reason for that is I have priming sugar, which is just dextrose or corn sugar. About 1 ounce per gallon will allow it to re-ferment in the bottles once you bottle it, and then that will give it the carbonation that it needs. So this has already been sanitized. This was put into a 1/4 cup of purified water and then boiled. So I'm going to put that in there. Now this is still hot, but by diluting it with this, it's going to go ahead and take care of that temperature difference. It's not going to be a problem at all. I do have my auto siphon. Let me go ahead and just pop this out real quick. I'm also going to do something else in this video, and we're going to have an experiment. So I'm just going to set this right here because I'm actually going to use that later. All right, let's go ahead. All right, so my hands are sanitized. I have my auto siphon right here. It was sitting in the sanitizer fluid. All right, so I probably need a shorter cord for this, honestly. Okay, this is just leaking tons of liquid. That's fun. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. We're just gonna set this in here. Give it a couple pumps. And it's flowing. Now I'm just going to go ahead and slowly lower this to the bottom because I don't want to agitate the sediment on the bottom too much. We're just going to let it go. At this point, all it's doing is actually mixing the cider, the apple juice, the fermented apple juice, with the mixture of dextrose and water. So it'll be all mixed up for us when we start to put it in the actual bottles. Now I do have bottles here, pre-sanitized. I have caps in the bucket sanitized as well, and I have my capper over here. So everything is pretty much ready to go. I'm just going to wait on this to go through. All right, so now that we have this all mixed up, I'm going to replace this with this, because now I'm going to actually fill up the bottles. So the only thing different that I'm going to be using instead of just the auto siphon like I just was is this. It's called a bottle wand, and it has a little spring in here with a little stopper that when you put it into the bottle and you just push down, it opens up the passage for it to flow through. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that. And you just take that and you kind of just push that into the tube. And it'll eventually get in there. There we go. All right, and now I have this. Now I am going to do one other thing differently here. I'm going to take off this plastic cap at the bottom of the auto siphon, because what happens is this is going to stop me from getting to the last little bit of that cider. And I want to make sure to get to it all. All right, so what I'm going to end up doing is take this bottle, go ahead and put it in here and push down. Works so much better if you have another person to do it with you, but that's what we're looking for, is a flow. What's going to happen is this actually displaces some of the liquid, so as I see the level rising, once it gets to the very tippy top, I'm going to take it right out. Now all the bottles I have are reused from other beers that I've drank, or just different little things along the way. All right, that is sanitizer fluid. You don't got to worry about those bubbles at all. That's normal. But this is literally it. So in just a minute, I'll be back with you when I'm done. I got a total of 9 3/4 bottles. So props to anybody who gets that reference. Why, that's funny. So now all I got to do is cap it. So I will be using this, which has a little magnetic piece right there. So all you got to do is take one of your bottle caps, attach it to the bottom. You will sit it on top of the bottle like that. Just gonna go down until it clicks like that. Now I'm using a plastic table for this, and it does make them jump a little bit, but that is number 1 bottled. Now this little 3/4 bottle, I might not let it fully carbonate. I'm not honestly sure what I'm going to do with it. I might just try to drink it right now, see how it tastes, but just for the purpose of this, we're going to go ahead and cap it. So I've got them all bottled. They've all capped. These are going to go in a bucket. I have a plastic bucket that I normally use for fermentation that you've seen before if you've been watching my videos. I'm going to put them in there just in case something happens. When you don't measure the sugar, the priming sugar properly, you'll either overcarbonate it and overpressurize it. And if it has too much pressure, the bottle can explode, and flying glass is not fun. Nobody likes shrapnel. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do right now, because I really want to do this, I'm going to start another batch. I've heard a lot of people say it's really good. So if it turns out to be as good as everybody says, then I want to make another one. And the best part about this is I already have the yeast down there to use, so I'm just going to be reusing that. I went ahead and I poured, well, most of this gallon in there. There's a little bit left, but that will allow me to get 2 uses out of this same yeast, which, you know, we're going to find out if that's actually any good or not. I want to go ahead and talk about one thing. I didn't mention, or I didn't take a gravity reading of the original batch or even this batch. One thing I will say is that if you look at the nutrition facts on it, it's going to tell you what's in it, how much sugar. So we know that an ounce is 28 grams of sugar, and there are 28 grams of sugar per 8-ounce glass. Now there's 16 8-ounce glasses in a gallon, so that would come out to 16 ounces, which is 1 pound of sugar. That would give it about a 45 points of gravity per gallon. And I want to say that's in like the 4, maybe 5% alcohol range. So I mean, that's about what a normal hard cider would have. So as of right now, we're going to go ahead and cut this video off, and I will see you in just a second with the tasting. Obviously for me it's going to be a couple weeks, but I'll see you soon. Bye. Hello everybody, so this is the final video in a, well, I'm making one video out of this, so it's just the final segment of it. This is the hard cider. I went ahead and fermented just a gallon of, like, it was like $2-3 for a gallon of the clear apple juice on the shelves at H-E-B, our local grocery store. And I saw a lot of people doing this online, just thought, you know, I'd give it a try, see if it's actually worth making some hard cider out of it, because what's the point if it doesn't taste good? A lot of people say it does. As you can see, I've already tried some. She has not. I kind of forgot I was doing the videos and just popped it open and tried it. So I already know what it tastes like. She doesn't, but I wanted to kind of go ahead and give you all the final part of this. So, don't know how carbonated this is. Okay, still got a decent amount of carbonation.
Alrighty. I love apple juice.
Me too. Okay, so yeah, there's plenty of carbonation. Alright.
What?
So yeah, this came out, it's also been aging for a while. This entire video process has probably taken about 2 to 3 months, just because I keep forgetting to record it. But yeah.
What's at the bottom?
The lease. So, for carbonation at home, you have forced carbonation and you have bottle carbonation, I think is what it's referred to as. So, forced carbonation is when you have a keg system and it takes a pressurized CO2 container and forces CO2 into it to give you your carbonation. That's what most factories use. That's how they get their beverages to be carbonated. When you're at home and you don't have a keg system, what you can do is add in about, for a beer bottle, it's about 1 ounce of sugar per gallon. Yeah, 1 ounce of sugar of corn sugar, it's called priming sugar, per gallon. And what it does is it gives the yeast that's naturally in the beverage from your fermentation a little bit more food to create more CO2. So it just eats the last ounce of sugar in the gallon, creates the carbonation. But what happens is down at the bottom, I don't know how well y'all can see this, but at the bottom it's a little gray. It's a little kind of gross looking down there. All it is, when you ferment anything, there is a waste byproduct called lees. It's also dead yeast cells and stuff. Totally safe to drink. So a lot of people don't like it, but that's just
it's just
what
not
happens.
pretty.
It's not pretty, but honestly, it doesn't change the taste unless it sits on there for like a long time. Like, we're talking years.
We try not to touch the bottle
Yeah.
so that way it doesn't get mixed in. So this is nice and
Exactly.
clear.
Alright.
Let's see. My mouth is watery. I like that.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't tried it.
I like ciders though.
Me too. I haven't tried it in like probably 3 or 4 weeks at this point, so I'm gonna see if it tastes any different than the last time I tried it. Okay, it's actually gotten a lot better.
I like it.
So, one thing I will say, I do prefer drier ciders. I don't like them to be super sweet. I don't want it to be like carbonated apple juice. Like, that's not what I'm trying to drink. This is drier than what I like, because what I did was I used a wine yeast instead of a beer yeast or a cider yeast. Wine yeasts generally just go dry. They leave no sugar unless you pass their alcohol tolerance. This one, because I used that, it completely wiped out all the sugar. So it's pretty much just an apple tartness a little bit and an apple flavored liquid, but there's not much sugar at all in it. That's all it is. So honestly, it's not bad. I want to try this again with a beer yeast with a...
It's like champagne dry.
Yeah. So this would be great for mimosas, for cheap mimosas at home.
It'll take
With
a
a little
while, but
apple
you can
flavor?
do it.
Yeah, it'd be really good. But yeah, I want to try this with a beer yeast with a low attenuation, so that means it leaves a little more sugar behind. So that way it might have a slight bit of sugar at the end. It might not eat all the sugar, and that way you'll end up with a sweetened or slightly sweet carbonated hard cider. But that's it for today. I just wanted to kind of give you all the follow-up final part of this video. So thank y'all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, leave it down below. We would love to hear from you. And if you have any ideas of what you would like me to try, please throw that out there. I don't know if you can see them all over here, but like 8 1-gallon jugs of different things going on, including some experiments and projects. So let me know if you have any ideas.
So we're open for random Frankenstein
Please.
mixes.
I will try anything just because I have a lot of time on my hands and it's a lot of fun.
But yeah, stay safe out there, guys. I don't
Please.
think we've posted much since the pandemic started.
Video.
But
Yeah.
stay safe and drink at home. Bye.
Have a good night.